everybody, and welcome back to the 7th episode of the pre-production meeting. I am one of your co-hosts, Josh Urquhart, and I am here with...
your boy Austin, as always.
Austin, how are you this week, my friend?
Well, very good, very good.
Yes?
Last week I said my week had been shit. This week has been good.
Yep.
It's a good refresh.
Why? What's gotten better this week?
Got my car back. Progression's back on the up. And it was a great week.
Out of 10, progress-wise, what would you give it?
7.5.
7.5.
7.5.
There was quite a bit.
Yeah.
Quite a bit to go through. So if you guys stick around for the whole podcast, we have some juicy progress to go through this week. But this week, there's something special about this week, Austin.
There is. As you can see, the camera angles have changed and we're both on one frame. And that is because
we have a guest today, guys. Now, today's guest is quite the romantic. So romantic, he decided to make a movie about it. This movie picked up 2 finalist awards for Best Production Design and Best First Time Director at certain international festivals, whilst also recently winning the Outstanding Achievement Award for Best Romantic Comedy Short at the Los Angeles International Film Festival. He is award-winning, heartwarming, and overall nice guy who isn't afraid to make the first move. It's Federico Anderson, everybody!
Hello.
You like that, Fetty?
Wow, I did like that. Wow.
Now, guys, Fetty was part of our podcast before this podcast. What are your thoughts? One of the 4. And we went to uni with him. Fetty, what's it like being back in this room, my friend?
I'll tell you what, it's a bit of deja vu, to be honest.
Yeah?
Still looks the same. I don't think those wine bottles have changed since, but you know, it's the zebra print's still here and we're still kicking, so it's good to be back.
That's good, my friend. Now, as you know, guys, this podcast is basically about our progress whilst making our next 2 films. But here and there, we will get guests in. We'll get guests that are at kind of the same stage of us. I don't know if amateur is the right word. We still call ourselves amateurs.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we'll get some amateur guests in to tell their story of progression moving up the ranks in the film industry, just like us, as well as professional guests here and there. And Fetty, I hope it's not demeaning, but would you classify yourself as amateur still in this kind of industry?
Yeah, I definitely feel so. I feel like it takes a certain level. You got to do enough to get those titles, you know what I mean? 100%. I definitely think that if you look in the grand scheme of things where we were when we were last in here and where I am now, I definitely think there's been a big improvement, and I definitely think I've made growths in my life and in my professional career. But at the same time, we're not here calling ourselves fucking... I know we won an award or something, you know what I mean? But I'm not going out here shoving it down people's throats.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
It's still a nice accolade to have, though.
It's nice to have on the resume. Fuck, I'll tell you what, it'll make it look good.
It will. Those laurels, mate. The satisfying
what.
aspect of photoshopping them in on the poster.
Fuck, gets me going.
There you go. But since you were talking about since last time you were here, right? And we all went to uni together in film school, so it'll be interesting to get your perspective on that all. But since you were last here, we were in uni still. What have you been doing since then? So from uni till now.
So what have I been doing?
Yeah, in terms of the industry.
In terms of the industry, I did take a break for a bit because I was given a great opportunity to work for a company that runs in-person and virtual events, and it was something that I was like, it was in the position where I was like, do I want to go through the whole process of reaching out, trying to get internships, kind of really needing to work to get some kind of outcome or some kind of finances, you know what I mean? Straight off the bat. And it's something that I think you definitely have to do. And you definitely you got to work your way up, you know what I mean? There are some people that are fortunate enough to be at the top of the tree when they come out of the womb, but sometimes you got to work your way up. And then I was given this opportunity, and it was like, do I take this opportunity, see where it goes? It's going to look good on the resume. It's going to be great experience, and it is somewhat in the creative industry because it's dealing with events, it's dealing with making stuff, it's dealing with making video content. Yeah. And yes, it's not film, but the amount of business experience that I've gotten, the amount of understanding of what it takes to do for project planning, actually project management, and actually meeting deadlines, and actually being right, you're the only person that can do this, and you got to get it done in a week. Yep. So you just got to get it done. Yeah. That kind of a real test of character, and when your back's against the wall and you've just got no idea where to start, and it kind of forces you to. I definitely think that it
would help you in
the overall
industry.
Yeah. So then I've kind of been passionate with that and kind of really going. But now in the past month or so, I've been trying to get back into the film stuff. You know what I mean? you're always at a party and someone's like to you, oh, what are you
doing next?
What's your next film? What's your next film? And you're like, God, what is it?
Did you ever feel a kind of sense of guilt when people would ask you like, oh shit, you know, this is my industry. I've kind of left it to do other stuff for the moment. Like, did you ever feel pressure?
I feel like there's that sense of pressure, but at the same time, I feel like, and I've had this chat with Austin, like life gets in the way. You know what I mean?
Oh, we've all had that chat.
You know,
it's funny, like we're going over this stuff because we said this in like week 1, like what's your next move? And then you're saying the other life gets in the way. It's like, it's a cycle. It's what happens. It's what we're trying to describe. Yeah.
Like definitely like life gets in the way. Stuff happens. And like, I sit down and I think like, oh, like I really wanted to write a script this past month.
Yep.
And I didn't. And then you sit there and you feel like shit and you're like, God, why? Like, why didn't I do that? And then I think, okay, what did I actually do?
Yeah.
Great. I did all this stuff for work. I did all these life experiences. Because at the end of the day, you got to love what you do, but you've also got to enjoy it.
Exactly.
Someone was like to me, do you work to live or do you live to work?
Mate. Dropping knowledge bombs on us like, and we're 7 minutes in.
And it's like I want to live my life. I want to enjoy my life. And think about it like, I'm not going to go into the whole time thing here, but you know what I mean? Like, yeah, you can like, you can make moves and you make pathways. I think it's definitely like, you don't need to beat yourself too much over not doing something in a certain time period.
Yeah, I agree.
You can set goals, and I feel like if you don't get those goals, you got to look and see why you didn't get those goals. And if there's like a genuine reason why you didn't get those goals, then that's fair enough. But if you look and you're like, oh, I've been a bit lazy, then that's where shit's got to change.
Do you think, I'm going to ask this to everybody that comes on, because like we've all had time away from the industry to do our own stuff, right? But there comes a point, and we were talking about this the other week, where we reckon there's a point where if you really want to make it in this industry, you got to go 100% in or nothing. Do you think that's a true way to put it? Or do you think it's always good to have something else on the side? If you really want to get into this industry, do you reckon there reaches a point where you got to go all in or no?
See, that's a tough one, because I do think there is that element how you need to really go in. Or like, if you do anything and you actually want to do it well, you need to like fully like commit.
100%.
And like I've had chats with people about like people who want to get into like influencer stuff. You know what I mean? And they're like, oh, I want to do an influencer. I want to do this. I want to do that. I want to do this. But then you look at it and you look at these people and you look at their character and you're like, okay, well, how the hell did they get there? They mastered one thing. And there's that whole issue. It's like, when I was a kid in sport and stuff, you know, I played all these sports, I did all these things. Like I was really like just athletic fun, you know, having a good time. But then you get to that point how it's like, oh, are you going to like play like go all the way with this? You know what I mean? And it's like, well, no, because I was just really just good at everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah, just
and it's like, you got to get to that point how if you really want to be a filmmaker, you got to make it your priority.
Yeah.
Like I definitely think like you jump into things and you got to think, okay, if this hits the fan, is there some like, what are we going to bounce back to? And then you like look at what you're like kind of done past in your career and stuff. You know what I mean? Like kind of, I feel like you can like whenever someone fully commits, they're at a different stage in their life, you know, the kind of period that they're at, like I'm sure there's a way to fall back onto something. But I think when you find that moment, like I know it's going to get to a point where with my current job, how I'm going to get an opportunity to work in the industry at something. It's like, I know I'm going to need to let go of this. And it's like... It's like you get to that point and they know that. And we've had those chats and we know that I'm not going to be around forever. And it's like, sometimes you just got to let go.
100%.
I got a question for you and you as well, right? So what would you say to those people that are scared of taking that risk of going 100% in?
I would strongly suggest to just take the risk and actually do it.
Right.
Because...
but we can say that, right? Because we're in a stable enough position. What happens if like they are literally risking everything for this profession?
Well, it's like risk versus reward kind of thing. When you take the risk and you, it all pays off. You look back on that moment when you took the risk and you just go, thank God I did it. Because I know you guys have heard this story multiple times, but like I was in an apprenticeship and I wasn't enjoying it and everything like that. And I knew I wanted to do something with my life and all that kind of thing. And like not bagging people if they want to be like in trades and doing carpentry and whatever trade they do with their lives, like fair call, you're winning, like all good, that hats off to you. But like that just wasn't for me. And I knew I wanted to work in film and I just kind of dropped that and took the leap and went to film school with you fellas. And I mean, I've found what I want to do.
Yep.
And I'm glad that I didn't really, well, I did in a sense because I gave up a stable job, income, all that kind of stuff to like do part-time work, study as well, live off like student wages for the 2 years that we did the course. And then like now I'd like to say that it's finally on track kind of thing. Because, like Ferdy said, life gets in the way when you're chasing your dreams, all that kind of stuff, and you get into a little bit of a, like, what have I done kind of deal. And then you look back on when you initially took the risk and you go, well, thank God, because, like, I've grown heaps as a person. And you look back on that moment and, like, thank God I did it.
What about you, Fed?
I was kind of caught up in Austin. But
Smooth talker, eh?
Oh, he's. Yeah, I think with that whole like fully committing, like I think if you do it, you've got to be accountable for it. You know what I mean? Like I see a lot of people out there that commit to something and then they're like, oh, it didn't work out and all this stuff, and like then it's like now my whole life's like or whatever. You know what I mean? I think because I guess we're all in a situation how like if we all got the question right now, would you quit your job for this?
Oh fuck!
It's hard,
man.
It's a yes or no. I don't want no fucking sob story like, oh, but I got to take my dog and all this shit. No, I want a yes or no answer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I don't know.
Would you quit your job right now if they said, say you have a 50-50 chance of getting into this industry, right? But there's no guarantee you can go back to your job. 50-50 chance of getting to this industry, getting your dream job as I don't know, a director or a producer, whatever. Would you take it?
Oh, well, with that, because I was going to give you, I don't know if you guys saw my story yesterday on Instagram.
Yes, I did. Yeah.
But in that same post, the fella also said, like, you can always go back to what you're doing. You can always fall back into what you like are currently doing, and then you just drawn up the snow. There's no guarantee you're going back. So I'm like,
well, if you quit your job,
okay.
Sometimes they ain't going to be like, yeah, sure, come back when you're fancy.
But at the same time, like, it depends on like who you are as a person. I think if they want you back, you could take the risk, and then like if you go, hey, it didn't work out, can I come back? And they'll be like, yeah, like we love you, come on in. But if you're not.
How about hypothetically, yes or no?
Yes, I would.
Ferdy?
If you ask me this question when I get back from Jakarta next week,
Yeah.
yes. But I've been through so much passport shit the past 2 weaks that is like,
Oh,
I just
mate.
can't fucking.
Have you seen, there's like, was it you who told me they have like 410,000 like late passports at the passport office right now?
I didn't make it that specific, but it's about 400,000.
That's
I reckon.
crazy, man.
Yeah.
Do you reckon film school was worth it?
That's the big question.
Yes.
Yes.
Elaborate,
Okay.
please, sir.
How?
Because I was listening to the podcast.
Okay.
For the listeners out there, I
You a
listen to
fan?
every episode. I'm a fan.
Yeah, good.
I'm a hashtag pre-podder.
You're a
I
pre-prod
think you
dog?
just started something.
I'm a hashtag. I'm a
No.
Are you a pre-prod dog?
not a dog. I'm a pre-podder.
Oh, pre-potter. I like that.
Yeah.
But yes, film school. Do you think it's worth it?
Yes, I do think it's worth it. I think it's definitely got its ups and downs, but that's like anything. But if you look at it, it kind of gave us that starting line.
Yes, absolutely.
And I think, look, it all depends how you make the most of it. Like, you can go to film school and you can absolutely give it your all, go to every lecture, go to everything, and you'll get something out of it, you know what I mean? Like, it's definitely about the commitment that you have towards it and definitely kind of what you're going in expecting it. Like, I didn't go into film school thinking by the end of it that I'm going to, like, have a job in the industry, like, tomorrow. You know what I mean? But it really gave me the framework. It gave me, like,
What framework, in what sense?
like, kind of how to go about things, you know what I mean? Like, there are certain ways you got to go about things. There's certain things you need to think about before you start. Gave me, like, ideas around pre-production. Gave me ideas around time frames and how long stuff actually takes.
Yeah.
And then it also teaches you a bit about, like, history about cinema that you never thought you'd watch, and then you watch it and you're like, wow, there's actually some stuff in here that's actually really worth it. And, of course, there are, like, its ups and its negatives, and, like, there are some things that, like, you know, you wish you could go back in time for, and some opportunities that you wish you could have made the most of. But I think, like, for the grand scheme of things, it's worth it if you're, like, if you want to find a way to, like, start that journey, there's a starting point. People 100%. Go about it different ways.
That's fair enough.
It's like,
just don't go in expecting you're going to get a job as soon as you come out.
Yeah,
but that's like anything with a university degree. You know how many people go into a university arts degree and it's like they come out of it like, I just wasted 3 years of my life.
Well, it's like you go through primary school, you get to year 6, then you're at the top of the food chain. Going to year 7 in high school, you're at the bottom of the food chain.
Literally.
All the way through to year 12, you're at the top of the food chain. Going into the real world, then you're at the bottom of the food chain again. Go to uni,
Bottom, and when you come out, you're at the top.
and then you come out, you're at the
You're
bottom.
literally at the bottom.
So yeah, it's like
Yeah.
that whole progression thing. Like you've got to
That's a big
build it up. Right?
That's a big cooked day, but like
Yeah.
you come off the extreme high of that grad project. You're like, I've just made a film.
Yeah.
I've just made a film. I'm getting awards left, right, and center. And then bam, as soon as that's done, you're back to square one.
It's like you said, you need to have a next move.
Yeah,
You need to have
always
a next
got to
move.
have a next move.
Yeah.
And also, I'd like to say one thing. If I didn't go to film school, I wouldn't have met you two.
Ah,
Look at him getting all sentimental.
you pussy.
I'm joking. I fucking hate you.
I love you,
But no,
Fatty.
it's
This guy
also,
picks me up, and he's like, "Oh, I can drive to you. I can drive to you to get you from the petrol station instead of making me walk to the car in the fucking rain."
Oh, Fetty, speaking about the industry, right? What actually drew you to the industry, and like, what have you done? Like, what's your forte? Would you say, coming out of film school? What do you specialize in? For the viewers or the listeners that aren't familiar with your work,
I definitely think I want to get into the business side of the industry because I like.
really?
Yeah, because that's where the money is, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I want to be able to live a life where I can
Yeah.
do things I want to do.
Yeah.
I don't want to be like kind of like struggling like paycheck to paycheck 24/7.
On the side of the
Oh,
road.
yeah.
You know what I want? I want to like build up.
side of the road.
Fuck, that's really fucking. Are you okay?
But
Are you okay?
you go to LA, man. They're everywhere.
Yeah,
Oh,
fair
yeah.
enough.
Like-
Like I definitely think like go on the business side of thing, go down like producing art, like the producing pathways, go down kind of like structuring how you're going to approach a film and how the
Yeah.
like, business side of things is going to be done. I definitely think I still want to direct a few pieces because I feel like everyone's got their own stories they want to tell. And yeah, but I think like the main and like I know a couple like I have confidence in a few like very niche filmmaking roles like continuity, for example, you know what I mean? But it's like I don't want to sit here and say that for the rest of my life I want to do continuity.
Yeah, right.
And there's nothing wrong with that if you want to do that. It's just not what I want to do.
Yeah. Fair
I heard Jay loves continuity.
I think that's a put a pin in that, get him on and get him to talk about it.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Oh man. So what drew you to number one getting into film school or getting into this industry in the first place? Was there like a particular film or like a reasoning? Like what made you say, you know what, I want to possibly live on the side of the road in LA and become a filmmaker?
I actually do know my story for this.
Yeah, go on.
So as a kid, I played a lot of sports and stuff, and my parents both work full-time jobs. So
Yep.
school holidays come around, and you know you got to do things. You know what I mean? And I don't want to sit at home the whole day. And then when you get to year 9, turns out, or age 15, turns out you're not allowed to do Sydney Uni Sport anymore.
Oh,
It's like, are you fucking kidding me?
That's
Every
ridiculous.
fucking holidays, this is where I am.
Yeah.
Are you kicking me out? Are you kicking me out? I pay
Ridiculous.
my $6 for chips. You know, I pay the parking fees. It's fucking $2.50 the hour. Mate,
Shit ain't cheap in these streets, mate. Shit ain't
Oh,
cheap.
I only
mate.
get $5 from my dad to take to lunch, and I'm saving it for you guys. But
I go hungry for this shit.
and you don't even cook them half the time. It's fucking. But
Fuck me.
But nah. So my mum like saw in the local paper that Afters, which is the Australian film school.
I'm joking. So we have a bit of a like rivalry with Afters.
James, who represent? No.
JMC.
I just want to claim Afters. I love
Yeah,
you
jokes.
guys.
Afters. We're nothing against you. It's just that friendly rivalry.
Yeah, friendly. I'm kidding.
Oh God.
I know nobody.
We
I
love
don't
you
know-
Afters, bro.
I don't know. anybody
Nothing
from
against.
Afters. It's nothing against.
Maybe because they're probably better than JMC. That's why we like him. Sorry, JMC.
Josh,
nothing against
Josh.
you either.
Oh,
I'm gonna just shut up.
cutting out. This is cutting out.
I'm gonna just shut up now.
Josh, shut up. I would like to just state that I appreciate everything James has done for me.
Me too.
Yeah, me too.
And I highly appreciate Afters, and I do not believe in Josh's views, and I have my own. So
What do you mean? That wasn't views. I'm just saying we have the rivalry.
all right, let's just
Yep, you're going back to
Alright.
So you went to Afters for
Yes.
program
so
or something.
Let's just okay. So didn't get the after the chips and all that stuff. My mum saw in the paper that Afters was doing a radio course for like school holidays. So it's like 3 days, and it's like 3 days out of home. Fuck, sign me up.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. anyway, so I had a really good time, and then I saw that they do other ones like film and stuff, and I was like, oh, it like hit me. I'm like, fuck, everything we watch, there's someone getting paid to make it.
Mate,
Yeah.
exactly.
You're like, what? Anyway, so I was like, so I did the short course, made a film, which was also another romance film. So I think you're starting to see this train.
Oh yeah.
And
Shout out Lola.
shout out Lola.
Yeah, she come from here, mate.
Yeah. Do you know her?
Well, you're talking about romance. I just want to get into your romance life. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. All right, keep going.
Yeah, so it was great. And kind of from that, and then I watched a few movies. I know you've mentioned it, but La La Land is my favorite film.
Insane.
And
Oh, it's like the Spider-Man meme right here.
I liked it before him.
Yeah, he did.
Okay.
He liked it before me. He did, yes.
I did. I remember I was at filming and I was like, guys, you got to watch this movie, La La Land. And Josh was like, oh, really? And then like he watched it and
That
he comes
sounds
back.
exactly like me as well. Can you do that again?
Oh, really?
Oh, mate, it's literally like I'm looking at him.
Anyway, and I feel sorry for the listeners. Anyway, but yeah, and it kind of stemmed from that, and bits and pieces, and here we are.
When it came to, you mentioned before that you realized you weren't doing anything kind of thing. Was there certain things that were like not holding you back, but like things you were doing that put a halt on your like dreams and aspirations kind of thing? Like put it like not a dangerous cycle of thing, but like did you fall into like a habit, like a routine kind of thing that stopped you from making films and stuff or writing scripts?
Sorry to cut you off.
No,
I
I'll
think
cut you off, my bad.
Get out. No, come back, buddy. Our first guest walks out on us.
But I think that what my main issue was, because after Broken Record and after kind of all that, like the film started to finally get its kind of success, I sat down and I was like thinking like, all right, like now that this is finally kicking and stuff, like what's next?
Yeah.
And I think I was looking at Broken Record and everything that I could have improved with the short film, and that there was like anyone watches and they're like, oh, it looks awesome, you know what I mean? And then, but I watch it and I'm like, okay, the first 2 minutes is way too long. That needs to be like,
Wait, do you want to explain what Broken Record is first off?
have you ever been too scared to make the first one?
Bro, the way he just looked at the camera, he's got that pitch in him already. It's like dug into his head. Have you ever been?
God, I've spoken about this film too much.
Give us a quick rundown and
give us
then
a summary
continue your
of it.
story.
Short film about being too scared to make the first move, set in a record store. Question kind of is, does he ask the girl out or not?
Yeah.
Cool. Continue with your answers.
So I was looking back at that and I was seeing everything that could have been improved. So when I was trying to come up with a new idea, I was trying to make like the perfect idea because I was thinking about it like realistically. So I was like, okay, great. I'm 21. I make another short film. It's got to be good, you know what I mean? Otherwise, if that's shithouse, by the time that's done, 22, 23, then it's like, okay, now we've kind of got two things done. Nothing's really amazing.
Yeah.
And then it's like, all right, do we make another thing? Then I'm like 25. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with being 25.
No.
Where's the roof?
My grandpa right here.
Exactly. Like, you know what he did?
What?
He fucking gave me a little lolly bag today. He's like, take this to school. I'll walk you to the bus stop. I was like, Grandpa, do you
He
need
actually
to-"
walked into this podcast room with his pants up to his like nipples, and I'm like, mate, go change. And now he's here looking a bit younger.
Got to fit in somehow.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But you had to borrow the rolly chair from the aged care.
See, what that camera's actually on is on his crutches, but we'll just keep going.
I still remember that time we were at the park at JMC, and then I told you how old I was, and you were like, fuck off. No, you're not. I was like, why would I lie about this? Like, that's how old I am.
No, I'm fucking 27.
But yeah, please, go on.
But yeah, and I like realized like, okay, like I was making it too much like this has got to be the best thing
The
ever.
perfect, yeah.
Otherwise, yeah. And then honestly, like I started to like kind of get my spark in the last kind of 2 months, and then you guys started your podcast, and I remember like listening to the first episode, and I was like, there are more people in the same boat that I am.
Literally,
You know
that
what
was
I
the
mean?
biggest
And it's
thing I
like-
took out of that as
Yeah.
well. Yeah.
And it's like, I know life gets in the way and stuff, but you got to really make time for your good mates and stuff.
Exactly.
And I view you guys as Good man.
Yeah, again with the sentiment.
Here we
This
go.
guy is a romantic.
He's a romantic. Take me out to dinner, Freddy.
But you've just actually kind of segued into the next part
After
of
the
it.
last date, I'm not taking you.
You kind of segued into the next part. You kind of segued into the next part because I was going to say, what pulled you out of that?
You better buy me ice cream. That's all I'm saying.
Drunk dumpling or what?
all right. Continue.
No, so,
It was amazing.
what pulled you out of that? I think, like you just said, not the podcast, but like you said, you got your spark back and all that. So you kind of had something that pulled you out of that
I think it was
rut kind of deal.
The podcast, right?
It was more just like being like, you know what, ideas are ideas and we can brainstorm and work around them. And then two things that I went out and bought. I bought these two notebooks.
I was going to say, what are you doing?
Which you got me to buy as well.
I
I've got
him to buy the
yeah,
notebook.
good stuff.
So these little bad boys.
These like your ID books or?
Yeah, pretty much. So I bought this book and it was kind of after you did the podcast. Like I bought it like the day after I heard the first episode. And I was like, shit. You know, a lot of people have like, what do I write on the first page? And I was like, oh, I'm just going to write and I see what comes from it. So like,
That's
I'm
what we
writing.
did in screenwriting class. Remember
Yeah,
that exercise
exactly.
you just got us to
Yeah.
just write?
Yep.
And then out of that couple pages that you write, there is going to be one idea.
Exactly. Yeah.
No, but like I didn't even know what to start with. You know what I mean? I was like, "Fuck, what do I write on the first page?" So I started with the date to get something on the page, and then
That's
I was
perfect.
like, "This journal is being used to refuel the film side of my life." And then I just kept on writing.
Both, bro.
And then like after a couple of days, it got to like
Holy shit.
after a couple of days, it got to there's an idea, and then I'm like thinking about this idea, and then I'm like, what can I do? And then I'm like, I don't want to carry this around everywhere. And I'm like, flipping, you know what I mean? Like, fuck, what happens if I've got to write on this side and it's not as heavy, you know what I mean? And then like the fucking handwriting looks shit. I was
Yeah.
like, do I even want to write right now? You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So then I bought this bad boy.
Bro,
It's $12
I
I've
think
ever
that
spent.
is such an amazing idea.
And then it's like a little flip book. And I just like have any idea and I legit just keep this with me at all times. I put it in my bag, put it next to my bed. Last night I came up with something for the short film that I'm working on.
Yeah.
And I was like, it was like an idea about the character. And I was like, ooh, okay, write that down. And then I'm just like, put it
That, I love that.
And then it's like it's there. It's not forgotten because
yeah. And then once a week I sit down and I write it on my laptop in case I ever lose it.
there you go.
I rate that.
Yeah, it's a good idea because then it's there. Like you've written it, and then you can always go back to like, oh, what did I write then and stuff like that because it can get lost in your laptop
Yeah.
if you write it down originally, and then if you've got it in a little hard copy book like that, just flick to it and, see
it's
it. And you're
solely
like, oh, wow,
like solely for film stuff.
Dude,
And it's like solely
Yeah.
around this current idea that I'm working on. So if I ever come up with a new idea, I'm just gonna buy another.
I think like I think that's perfect. Writing down ideas, and like I know I touched on it, but Carell got us. Was it Carell? Oh no, maybe it was Brendan got us to do this exercise once. If you guys want an exercise when it comes to finding ideas for screenwriting, what he would do is I think we wrote for a solid 30 minutes. He would get us to. He puts on some background music or whatever, and he'll give us a word. Right, every like 5 minutes or whatever, and we'll just
so I
be
remember
writing,
this. Yeah, yeah.
and then he'll get a new word, and we'll keep writing, and we'll just keep writing whatever comes to our head. And within that 30 minutes and how many pages you write, there's got to be one idea that you can build off in that little section there.
Yep.
So I think what you're doing is absolutely amazing.
And the one thing that I love about it is it's just for me. It's like it can be for a couple of us, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
it's like it's just all there. If it's shit, who cares? It's there. It can't
Exactly.
be deleted. Like, and the one thing I don't like about typing on laptops and stuff, you can just copy. You can click 2 buttons and it's all gone.
Exactly.
It's a bit harder to do that, or I could just throw it out the window.
Ferdy, that's amazing. Now, you did mention broken record, and I want to kind of go back into that, right? And this is a question for you. I'm going to pick your brain here. And maybe we'll stick with, okay, we'll go with 2. If you're talking to someone to try and draw them into the film industry, if you were in your argument to invite them into the industry, think and tell of 2 memories from making your first film, Broken Record. What would those 2 memories be to try and get them to come into the industry? Good question, eh?
Very good
That's a
question.
good question. What are the 2 memories that I have?
It can be from the premiere, any stage of production.
I think one memory that I have, and it's just random, but just like look back and it's like, is the whole getting the parking spot for the equipment.
Oh my God.
So the reason why, and you're probably like, you're kidding me, you made a whole short film and you're going to fucking tell me I had to go to a parking spot. The reason is because
I got
it
so
kind
many
of really
parking
showed.
tickets.
It really shows like kind of like you got to work together and what it takes. Like we rock up, we get okay, awesome. We've got our location. Like because I wrote this whole film around the location. It's all pretty much set in one location except for a dream sequence, and because I just love the feel. Everyone at the Vintage Record, great spot.
Shout out
Go
Vintage
check it
Record.
out.
Yeah, great spot.
Anyway, but yeah, and we like got the spot and we're like, great. And then it's like, okay, how do we get the equipment? This is in like off Parramatta Road. There's no parking in Sydney.
No.
Oh, yeah.
As my grandma loves to say, great town, great people, no parking.
Shout out Feddy's granny.
Exactly.
What's her name?
Val.
Val. Shout out Val.
Good on you, Val.
Yeah, I hope
Good
you're
on you,
listening. I
Val.
hope you're enjoying.
Yeah. It was her birthday on Wednesday.
Oh, happy
think she's-
birthday, Val.
I think she's a big fan of the podcast, actually.
All she does is send emails. I don't think she knows how to use Google. So you tell her Spotify? What?
Sorry, continue, Feddy.
But yeah, and it was like, okay, shit, like we've got like everything's going to plan, and then we're like, fuck, where are we gonna put all the shit? And then me and Jay have like no idea, and then we're like, oh god, like there are all these free spots, and then Phil, who owns the Vintage Record, he's like, oh, it's used by these framing places. So me and Jay just walk up there, the weirdest bunch, man, like the weirdest bunch, like the reception lady, textbook Karen, like textbook pain in the ass, and it's like
In the Vintage Record?
no, in
Oh,
the
right.
framing place.
Oh, yeah, across the road. Yeah, that's
I walk
right.
up there with Jay, and we're like, oh, okay, we're just wondering, can we use your car spot on these 2 days? And they're like, oh, yeah, like, no worries. And they're like, we're just going to park a car. Like, we didn't tell them what we're actually doing. We're like, we're just going to park the car. And they're like, all good. And then we get there, we set up a fucking gazebo. We put the car, we put all these things. We're taking up at least a park and a half.
That's right.
Mate, we're a pretty long truck if you look at it.
Yeah.
And this lady comes storming down the stairs 5 minutes before we're about to shoot, like swearing, like what the, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then, thank God Jay was there, like to deal with it while I was going to do, but he just was just like, oh, we'll buy you a bottle of wine. So we bought him like 3 bottles of wine, but it just that kind of memory kind of showed to me like
The camaraderie of
the
friends.
camaraderie,
Yeah.
like, you know, it gets together.
Creative problem solving
Yeah,
as
yeah.
well.
definitely. And then like I think the premiere was also an awesome experience. Like Dendy Newtown, like
Yeah.
go there all the time, go there with my family, been there since I was young, you know what I mean? And then to be able to sit and watch something that you've made,
Yeah.
on like a
Gives me
screen,
goosebumps you
on, like,
talking
a
about that,
screen,
bro.
And like, you know, like you seeing all your friends and family there, like look back at the photos and it's kind of like everyone that's in the crowd and it's like, it's a nice feeling, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, it's like,
Yeah.
even if like my film career hits the fan, because nothing in life's guaranteed. And like,
course.
who knows, like we could all be like fucking fairies, you know what I
Dude.
mean? It's like, oh, one's a trick, knows lessons, you know what I mean? Like, there's that. But I look at
yeah.
that memory and I'm like, you know what? Like I can tell my kids about it.
Literally,
Yeah.
I can relate. That was one of the best nights of my life. And I hope you get to experience that as
Yeah.
well with this next one, because holding a premiere with literally everybody I've ever known all in one room watching something that they've seen, number one, your family do with my grandfather, now it's passed down to me, and seeing them in the family side and seeing the friends who've supported you all in one room. And when that film ends, everybody clapping, it's unexplainable.
Yeah,
I
I
can
think-
only imagine what they must feel at the Oscars or
Yeah.
seeing all that hard work that you put in pay off in that very moment.
And to touch off that as well, the thing I'm looking forward to the most, like if I get the opportunity to premiere mine,
when you
when all right, let's change it to when. Like I don't think people understand how much like movies mean to me as well. So to have everybody that I love and care about in one room, watching something that I've made that I'm so passionate about, I think like it'll just cement how much this stuff actually means to me.
Yep.
And I can imagine that's what you two felt at your premieres as
Insane.
well. So there's that to look forward to for me. So while I can't relate to your feelings yet, it makes me excited because I did get goosebumps at your premiere. I unfortunately didn't make yours because I was at work, but
he likes me better.
He just edits the film and fucks off.
but no, I remember like everyone cheering and clapping, all that kind of stuff, and I was like, that's what this is all about. Like, who cares what people think, really. Just like, this is my passion. This is what I like to do. This is what I want to do. And then people celebrating that is like, it makes it all worth it.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And that's what everyone here is going to see.
Fuck, man, goosebumps. All right, Fede, I think we have one more question for you.
Yeah.
Yes. So, what's planned for the future?
What is planned for the future?
Mm.
Well, what is planned for the future?
Tell
There's
us.
a new film in the works.
I think this is going to segue into our new segment, the progress.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
we'll start with you. What you have planned for the future? What's your progress? And we'll go on to ours.
So, without giving away like the details of your film and stuff like that.
Working title.
Oh,
So,
you
yeah,
bitch.
sorry,
I was
did I
going to
cut you
fucking
off?
say that.
So I'm not going to tell you the real title of the film.
Yeah.
And as Josh and Austin did in the previous episodes, how they gave themselves a fake title, I'm going to call mine The Big Salad. Why am I calling mine The Big Salad?
Shit.
Because it was what was used for Thor Love and Thunder as their like kind of production company for the film.
Hey,
it was
there you
like
go.
The Big Salad. So
Cool.
the salad's
Respect.
cooking. It's cooking.
The salad's
we got
cooking.
we got the bit of tomato, bit of lettuce, cucumber.
Mate.
But as you and I have had a meeting about this and all that kind of stuff, and you were not stuck. Like, you had an idea where you wanted to go and all that kind of stuff, and then, like I said, credit to Josh for giving me the checklist. And then I passed that on to you, and then you ran with that. Where are you at now? Because I know it was like conceptualizing your idea. Where are you at now? Like, what have you not locked off kind of deal, but like, what are you progressing on?
Yeah. So I'll take it back to kind of where it all came, like the inspiration came.
Please do.
So the short film actually came from two items. So, a lot of people, like, you hear a film and it's like, oh, it's about like this, like someone dies, you know what I mean? My film idea came from an item, which is a letter. I don't think that gives away too much. It's about a letter. I wouldn't say the other half of the letter, but I saw a piece of graffiti art in Paddington, and I was like, the exact location of it, I was like, oh, this is talking to me. You know what I mean? Like, I went on a nice walk. I took my Polaroid camera with Lola. We went to a couple of bookshops, bought a film book. You know what I mean? And then I see this graffiti art, and I was like, when like things are just rolling, and you're like, and the things I've seen it before, and like I just went and retook a photo of it, and I was like, there's something about this.
Yeah, right.
So this letter and this photo kind of formed this idea. And I was like, okay, now I've got this item. Like, how do I build it? And then I'm like, okay, I'm going to make it. What do I know? Like, what do I like? And I'm like, I like romance films. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I like to be able to. I've realized what my niche is in my actual filmmaking side of things is I like to make relatable content.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, Broken Record was a short film about being too scared to make the first move. The Big Salad is a short film about...
This guy, man.
Sorry.
Can we send him back to Newtown Hotel?
Alrighty.
Like,
Fucking airing out all my dirties. All right, go
just
on.
go back to Newtown Hotel. Like, fuck.
I hope she listens to this.
But yes, go on, please.
Anyway, so this film is about, and it's kind of like what the film is really about. I haven't experienced personally, you know what I mean? But the actual ideas and emotions behind it, and the reason why I'm making it like this is because I think you make a movie, and a lot of people, if you make it about what is actually happening and not the actual emotions in it, then I feel like no one's gonna, like, barely anyone's gonna relate to it. You know what I mean? Like, if I make a movie about a bank robbery and it's like about all this stuff, you know what I mean? Like, there's only gonna be like fucking 10 people that can relate to this. Like, you got some guy sitting in prison like, fuck, man, I shouldn't have done it.
Exactly.
If I
If I could go back.
Exactly.
God damn it.
I could go back. He's like, Darren, you've been here for 15 years, mate. But, so it's about like the emotions, and the emotion for the film is that the worst state in your life that you can be is comfortable.
Yes.
Ooh.
Yep.
And the reason why I'm doing that is because, like, through this year trying to get back into the film, like my film side of life, I was getting comfortable. You know what I mean? I was like, oh, I've got this job, it's great. Like, I'm in a new relationship, like, things going great, you know what I mean? But then I'm sitting there like, my passion is film. And I was getting comfortable. And I think that the worst thing that you can be is comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seek discomfort.
Yeah, exactly
Yes, theory.
right.
Yes, theory. There you go. And yeah, so it's about this relationship, and one of the people in the relationship is too comfortable, and it's kind of what stems from this letter. But yeah.
There you go.
Oh, shit. Oh, come on. Give me some more.
All right,
idea,
Give me a little more.
So I guess this doesn't really give anything away, but the way the film starts, person A comes home from work to find a letter from person B, and it goes into the idea of their relationship. I actually have.
Do you have a log line?
I have like a little well, one thing I was doing, I was like, okay, I got to write a log line, I got to write a synopsis.
Oh, you brought your laptop as well.
Yeah,
I just
and then I
realised
was
that.
like,
Damn.
I've got my whole key story points here.
Yeah, sweet.
But like I was like, oh, I got to write a log line, got to write a synopsis, and then I was like, thinking like, all right, it's got to be long enough, and then I'm like, no, it doesn't. Like it just needs to be one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You look at some great films, and it's like, oh, let me Google.
Bro, some of the best films has the worst fucking log lines.
Oh,
themselves.
yeah.
like
100%.
the La La Land log line is actually like real. Like their little synopsis is great. Let me just find it.
No worries.
Some old
And
music.
with that as well, the I remember one of the exercises that we had to do for screenwriting was like, look up a log line so you can learn how to write a log. And then, like you're saying, some of them are shit online. You can't go off that as
No,
an
man.
educational purpose. Like,
Yeah.
Literally.
So like the synopsis for La La Land. So you think about a synopsis. Oh god, it's going to be this huge thing.
Yeah.
All it is Mia, an aspiring actress, serves lattes to movie stars between auditions, and Sebastian, a jazz musician, scrapes by playing cocktail party gigs in dingy bars. But as success mounts, they are faced with the decisions that begin to fray a fragile fabric of their love affair, and the dreams they worked so hard to maintain in each other's threaten to rip them apart.
I mean, that's pretty good. Like,
Like that, but the person who's written that gets paid $2 million.
yeah,
to write that, you know
exactly.
what I mean? But then I was like, so
give us yours.
all right, so person A and person B are a couple in their early 20s. They're meant to be, everyone knows they're bound to get married someday. But as pressure of life mounts and the choice between whether to try and make something of it or sit back and stay comfortable weighs on their minds, one day person A comes home to find a letter from person B, which explores the two's relationship.
Sheesh. All right.
There you go,
Amazing.
eh?
What part of production are you at right now with that?
So because this is pretty fresh, like it's only been a month and a bit, I'd reckon. And so at the moment, I'm pretty much done my beat sheet. So getting out the key beats, because my whole mindset at the moment is I know who I want to play the main actor.
Who?
I'm not saying yet.
Do I know him?
You know him.
Okay.
He's been in something before.
Oh my God. It can't be.
It is.
Is his?
It is.
No way.
But I'm reaching out
Surely
to him.
he's charging nowadays. 'Cause he's so that's fucking awesome.
So I'm going to reach out to him when I get back from Jakarta. But my whole idea is I want to beef out this story beat and like character develop and all this stuff enough. So when I'm on a plane for 8 hours, I can just write.
Yeah.
So I want to like kind of really just the next week and a half, just try get as much done as I can. So then I can just attempt a draft. It doesn't need to be good. Doesn't
Mate,
need to be
no,
bad.
exactly.
I just
I
want
think
to
that's
sit
perfect.
down and write because I'm going to have 16 hours. And then when else, I'm going to be stuck in the hotel because I'm not allowed to go out till the event's finished. It's like,
Yeah.
I think that's amazing, mate.
Yeah,
And
there's
we'll,
no rush too. So
No,
you can
not
take
at
your
all.
time doing what you need to do.
Yeah.
So.
and we'll keep getting you back on to
exactly. And to
keep
point
up
on
with
like that
progress.
kind of progress. So last week, me and Austin called and like, we were like, okay, like, what are we going to work on? And I said I was going to work on my story beats.
Yep.
And it's like I've built it kind of to the point where now it goes through the stages of the letter.
Yeah, right.
And the way that it's going to work, it's not just going to be a person sitting there reading, Dear Diary, blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean?
I
Like,
get
it's
you.
going to like kind of, I've figured out what the flashbacks are going to be, the way that it works, like why it needs to happen. So
Yeah,
kind of
good.
stuff.
Good.
Freddie, that's got me excited, man. It's good to hear you back into the stuff because, like with all the boys that we went to uni with, I feel all four of us, including Jay, 5, Lockie, 6, Manny, everybody that we've gone to uni with, I feel like we all have so much to give. We're
Yeah.
all so creative and talented. It's just getting past that hard stage when you come out of uni and getting that motivation to make, because it's a big process, a big commitment, but it gets me excited because I know what you can do. So, mate, that makes me so happy.
Yeah.
And the one thing that I'm building this around, I'm keeping it more the actual like kind of dialogue and the actual emotions and the actual story than the real production design to it. I'm
Yeah.
keeping it very minimal because we're all working, we've all got stuff to do. Like forking out big bucks for like films is tough.
Yes.
So it's like what I'm doing is making a very minimal idea and then trying to find the right people to carry the story.
Amazing.
Exactly. That's what you got to do. That's perfect.
All right, Fetty, that's amazing. All the stuff that you said, super, super excited. And like I said, we'll get you back on to hear about it. I don't know, whenever you're free, we're welcome to come on. Now, Austin, progress for us this week. What's been happening? There's been a lot of talk between us this week.
There has been. There's been a lot of back and forth, actually. But we've been blowing up each other's phones. It's been fucking ridiculous.
You kick it off.
But
Beth's
incredibly
like,
helpful.
Josh.
Incredibly helpful. I think a lot of what's been said over this past week has really brought me back into, what this film is about, what can logistically be achieved, and like more so the logistics behind the entire project, essentially. So one of the things that I had to do, and one thing that I've been meaning to do for a while, was lock off the script entirely, because there are a couple of childish things in there that I put in when I first wrote it, and it was a rough first draft, but I was like, I want it to kind of be like that, but then I just dialed it back, and it's, as Josh quoted yesterday, it looks professional. And
It does. It reads. No, it doesn't look professional. It reads professionally.
Oh, there
It reads so much more cleaner. Like there is a target audience. You're more consistent with your writing.
Yeah, and like
I'm going to refer to you as Mr. Scott now that you're professional.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Scott, Mr. Cologne.
I remember a couple of weeks ago I said on here, like, it's just human nature to like doubt yourself kind of thing. And like being so far out of film school, I didn't think I had the writing in me to still do and kind of stuff. So hearing that means a lot more than So thank you for that. And as for like progress entirely, I've been stressing about storyboards and all that fun stuff. And I've got a storyboard artist on board who's helping me just sort of visualize what I've done.
Amazing.
And then at that same time, I shot a little, which I showed these boys before we kicked off here. Like I shot this little thing on my phone of how I want the animation sequence to start with certain camera angles, all that stuff. So that was something that I want to prioritize. So then when he's done with the storyboards, they go into the little video I've made, and then I can go into choreography and all that kind of stuff. So I'm kind of prioritizing that. But with that as well, this morning I did is it Judith Weston?
Oh, you did it!
Yeah, I did it this morning.
Oh, yes.
We'll go over it after this, but that was my morning this morning. So you know how I said I've been productive this morning?
Mate, that's the one thing I fucking wanted you to do. Good stuff.
So, and I've also made a start on the Bible, but I need to format it the way I want it and really like, once I start, like this video I shot is going to help me with the director's statement. That's already in there, but like there's a certain animation style I want. 2D wise.
So you've got an animation style.
Yeah. So
with your call with the storyboard artist, did you communicate that style?
No, because he's not doing the style. He's doing like, he describes
just
it in
the
a way.
Movements
Kind of like,
okay.
They're not going to be like detailed and all that kind of stuff. It's something that I can then like move on to someone else to. He's kind of just helping me go in that right direction. Okay. So, that's where my progress lies this week. And like opposed to last week with the week I had, that's why this week has been a 7.5 out of 10 for me. Okay. Because a lot of stuff that I was stressing about kind of got simplified, took a step back, and then just went with, like I just went, all right, I'm going to bet on myself here and just go with it and see what happens. And it's been quite productive.
You've locked off the script.
Yes.
You've got the storyboard underway.
Yep.
You've done some filming for the animation just as a reference, and you have a clear, concise vision of where you're going.
Yes, exactly right.
How was the Judith Weston? How was that process of breaking the scenes down?
Oh, look. So with the Judith Weston thing, there was a lot there to sort of break down kind of thing. And because I did that one template that was like the last 2 sections of the Judith Weston. And then I went, all right, I need to go back and do the other things. And then like, as I was doing it, there was just kind of, I was like, fuck, how's this going to like look professional, all that kind of stuff. And I'll get your opinion after. But I just went, just do what you think is right.
It's whatever makes sense in your head. Because the Judith Weston template is a scene analysis breakdown where you break down your scenes and you're explaining what is not written in words. Yeah, so when you direct, it's easier for you to know what to do.
So I just kind of just put my thoughts on the page, and it made sense and all that kind of stuff. And then there was one little bit that I was struggling with, but we'll talk about it after. But once I kind of got into a groove with that, I was just progress training was just going,
amazing,
gone. So I've had a pretty productive week, and I'm looking forward to it. Like things are starting to fall in place now. We might have a main character casted, but it's which I feel like Josh might go over in a bit, but it's been really good progression wise.
Right, yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Good stuff. All right.
I like how you said that was a 7.5. You know what I mean? You're not being like, oh, I had a great week. Oh, it was a 10. You know what I mean?
There's room for improvement.
There's room for
Always room for improvement, mate. Well, so I today was a short working week for me, so I had a couple days off. I got distracted with Sandman, which
Still
we'll
gotta
get
watch
into
that.
it. But I did, saying that, I did get a lot done. So talking about what we were talking about last week, so there's this made up country that I didn't know what to do or whatever. Like with
yes.
it. And you said last week to kind of do the Wakanda thing and take, you know, certain things and integrate it to make it more sensible. That stuck with me. And then I listened to something or other. I can't remember what I was listening to. And they said it in a perfect way. It's you're taking an established culture and inventing it into the made up country.
Yes.
So if you take a culture that's already, you know, kicking and stuff like that and has a background, you can integrate that into a made up society almost. Like what, I don't really. So with this new Wakanda Forever movie coming up, they're taking the it's Atlanteans in the comics. I don't know what they're calling it in this movie, but they're taking a lot from the Aztec culture.
Oh wow!
Yes.
And they're integrating that, and then you got the Wakanda people who I'm not sure exactly what, but you know, some African, I'm guessing, like culture that they've integrated into that. So I just found that. It became more clear in my head that that's possibly something that I want to do.
Yeah.
Another thing. So I have a question to ask you guys, right? Because you know I'm doing the proof of concept on this book and I'm only doing a chapter out of it. When it comes time to do all the relevant documents in the Bible, am I doing that on the one chapter or the whole book as a whole? Because when I want to pitch it, how am I going to explain this one chapter whilst also explaining the full book? You know what I mean?
I think you've got to make reference
To
to the
the-
whole book.
yep.
I think at the end of the day, I'm doing a storyboard Bible for a scene. So I think you've really got to go full depth in that.
Yeah.
But I think it's important to build around everything else. It's like when you watch a documentary or something, like a sports documentary, and they focus on a game. They're also they're also showing
The season.
the sport. You know what I mean?
exactly, yeah.
So it's like if you're focusing in like, say it's like a simple, like a specific basketball game, always see in the intro and stuff that they build up what like the sport is or like what's like around it, you know what I mean? So I feel like you got to build that kind of, you got to establish the place in the country and like
Okay, so establish the book and its whole overall story, then dig deep.
Exactly.
Establish the book, but focus on the chapter.
I like that. There you go. You've answered my question. Amazing. Another thing that I found, so I did 5 chapter breakdowns this week, so I have 9 chapters left before I can start getting into the nitty gritty. But there was this really cool chapter where they're in Egypt and they're going to this pyramid almost to find someone, and this someone's trapped in this pyramid or whatever. And they go to this pyramid and it's called the Maydoom Pyramid in the book. And I'm like, and it's talking about all these kind of intricate details about the pyramid. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm going to have to make some map on how this pyramid is laid out. Anyways, I searched up the Maydoom Pyramid, and it's based on an actual pyramid called the Maydoom Pyramid, and it has a blueprint of the pyramid on the internet.
Oh, there you
so
go.
now when I'm writing it, I found like a cool fun fact. I can just go off the blueprint of the pyramid and find it that way. But it's just, it's even showing how much they're basing off real life. And maybe this culture or this country that they're talking about does exist, but they're basing it off someone. But because this book is so old, there's no inclination to anything anywhere.
Because they're using history to build out their ideas.
Yeah.
And it's like with anything in the world, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like people will be like, you design like a new building or something, like there are always like elements where stuff comes from, you know
Exactly.
what I
I
mean?
wish I could talk to the author or someone, because there is no information about this anywhere. So I'm having to do it all
If you need to
myself.
find out
Yeah.
the name of the book, just watch Josh's Be Real.
Oh. Yeah, fair enough. Another thing. So that's what I've done. I have 9 chapters left, about 100 or so pages left
Oh,
break
wow.
down
So
and
we're
read.
getting closer and closer.
Getting
to
closer
writing,
and closer. Yeah, but before I write it, I feel like I'm going to do the Bible, the director's statement, like
Fair
everything
call.
Really
before I do
build
it.
Yeah.
That'd
Build
be
the
good,
world.
though.
Yeah.
But the good thing is you'll get to the point where you're writing and like you know everything.
It'll just,
Exactly.
it'll just
That's why I'm doing the whole book. I've already read the whole book, but I'm rereading it and breaking it down so it's fresh in my brain when I'm building out the world whilst writing it.
Yeah,
well, that's
for
why
sure.
you redo things out. You do one for the experience and then two so you can just immerse.
And then I'll be breaking it down another time when I'm writing it. Per chapter, going through
Layers.
Layers, bro.
Onions.
Onions have layers.
Yeah, I knew one of you were going to say that.
Okay, now I did quite a bit of shit for your film as well, right? So this is my checklist. I'll tell you what I did do. All right, so I did a script breakdown yesterday. So I printed out your locked off script and I broke it down. Remember the little scene breakdowns that we used to do producing where you highlight it, write it in the little boxes. I did that for your whole film, just for the fact that when it comes time for other heads of departments to figure out what they're doing, they can go off my already done
absolutely.
script breakdowns and help. There's only a couple props and stuff like that will need to be there, like the headphones and shit like that. But they can go off that when it comes for the first AD, time for the first AD to build their schedule. They will have already it all broken down. And for me, when I'm building a mock budget, I'll have an idea. And most of the stuff in your film, we can source ourselves. Like
100%, yeah.
literally the location, source ourselves.
Yep.
Like everything, mate. We can. Your film is going to be, I think, except the animation, super low budget.
One thing that I was thinking about was even when the location is sorted, I was thinking of getting a lot of the crew members to bring in, like crew and cast, like bring in this kind of deal, like we'll dress the set that way kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Just save a bit of dosh on
Exactly,
stuff.
mate. You got it.
But just to clarify, Josh isn't doing like the work for me. He's the producer on the film.
Yeah.
So if anyone was confused about that, like
The producers and the directors have their own roles. The director
Yeah.
is more the creative side to it, whereas the producer makes it all happen, basically. All right. I made, and you're going to be happy about this, a checklist for what we have to do until production.
I love checklists.
So everything that
'em
we
off.
need to get done until production, I have in order for you, for me, and then together.
Damn.
So we don't. So you now have a step by step what we need to get done until we basically shoot.
Good,
Oh,
awesome.
shit.
Yeah.
I'm
So
keen.
I had that, and then Fed, if you want that as well, by all means, have that template. I think it's a great template to do. I took both the checklists that I gave you, the check, and I took out the most important bits and made it more simplified. So we have a step by step to follow.
Sick.
I created you a crowdfunding template. I watched my crowdfunding video, just put step by step what you would want to include, kind of divvied it around to make it more sorted to your film, so you have something to follow for the crowdfunding. I researched liability insurance. Now, this is a thing that we all have to have, right? It's actually not as bad as I thought, right? So liability insurance in uni, they gave us a $20 million liability insurance for everywhere we went. And it basically covers all injuries if there were to happen, any broken equipment, etc. And you need to have it, especially when you're trying to film at a certain place. They'll always ask, do you have liability insurance? It's like car insurance or home insurance, but it's on-set insurance, basically. And I had no idea where to start. So shout out Lexi. I messaged Lexi and she gave me like a few tips here and there. She's at the top of her game at the moment.
Thank you, Lexi.
And she gave me a website how she bought her liability insurance for. And you can buy it for 12 months, right?
Okay.
So if you're filming at place, did you have to tell old mate at Vintage Shop about liability insurance? Sometimes they don't ask, sometimes they do.
It's kind of expected, I
Yeah.
think, through the university. Like it was kind of like known.
yeah,
exactly.
right.
Anyways, it's only like $500. And I don't reckon you'll need it, bro.
Yeah.
You get someone's house, that's all you need.
Yeah.
But for my film, especially if I'm planning to shoot where I'm planning to shoot, we're gonna need it. But
Oh,
if anybody,
100%.
if you need it, then we can go halves on the liability
Yeah.
insurance. That's what, $250
Well, it's good
each.
to know for future projects.
Oh
Literally,
yeah, okay, yeah.
You know what I mean? And because we got it for free, that was one of the big ones that I wanted to make sure that I knew. So I did that,
How
found
much
the
do you
website,
get for that?
$20 million,
Wow.
Yeah.
And you only pay $500.
$500.
Nice.
And yeah.
Worth paying.
Mad, eh?
Worth paying.
Damn.
Yeah, so that's what I've done for you this week. And you'll see the checklist was a big one, which I wanted to get done for my own peace of mind as well.
Yeah.
But we have a sweet thing to follow now.
Bruh.
Yeah. And then
So good.
what I didn't get done, which I want to do hopefully today, is do a mock schedule of when we're gonna time, everything, when we're going to be doing everything, because we want to have some dates that we want to work towards,
Yeah,
right?
right.
I'll do that today sometime, or maybe during the week. Rough production budget I want to create. Got some numbers from Lexi, some ideas of how much everything's going to cost.
Yep.
It will be much cheaper because you're only filming one day, so
Yeah, exactly.
crew,
One day,
crew
one location.
equipment as well. I've got to get a website. I'll probably ask around for websites for crew equipment and stuff, but I got brief kind of ideas. And I told Lex, can I send it to you? You tell me if I'm like out of the, like, you tell me if I'm on track with terms of the budget. So she said she's going to have a look at that and tell me. So
Thank you, Lexi.
I'm going to
Appreciate it.
message Cooper's mum.
Yep,
Either
please.
today or whatever. Did he tell you that we're going to get Cooper for his film?
I heard it in the last podcast,
Yeah.
but are you actually going to try
I think
pursue
so.
it?
I think Cooper.
Yeah.
Cooper's got the role in my eyes. So
Yeah, 'cause I doubt he even listens to
Yeah,
this.
that-
He likes the photos on
yeah,
Instagram.
that's the thing.
So
Like, great kid, and I think I think he suits the profile well.
100%.
If I'm thinking about it logistically and
Yep.
like the character I've envisioned.
yeah, and even your extras and stuff you have in the film, like you just get other crew members because you're not showing the faces,
No,
right?
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
So yeah, I'll do that as well today, and that's basically my progress this week as well. Got a lot of shit done.
Actually, hold on. We'll do this.
Yay! Alrighty, so we'll go on to the last segment. All right, we have about I would say 10 minutes or so. I wanted to go through this. Right, I think that we've been teasing this for the last couple of weeks. The worst films we've ever seen, films that we've walked out on, or films we've watched and just are like, what the fuck was that?
Yeah, and so a lot of people might listen to this and think we're wrong.
Let's get up our letterboxes,
essentially.
boys.
Yeah,
Pulling out letterboxes. to see what I've-
I don't think I've ever actually I've walked out on one film in my life, so I'll mention that. But like, please, reach out to us on Instagram about our movie opinions and let's chat. And we'll also give some
Just
some
message
listener.
Josh and be like, I fucking hate your reviews.
We'll give some listener movie recommendations,
Yeah.
all that kind of fun stuff on future episodes.
Yeah.
But while we all get our letterboxed up, who wants to kick us off?
I'll kick us off.
Go for it.
So, I have 7 movies that I've given 1.5 out of 5. And they are the worst movies I've ever seen.
A lot of mine are recent ones, just because I'm going off on what's on Letterboxd.
Yeah.
Like on my Letterboxd. So
Okay.
I think that's something that I have to. I could come back with more, but yeah, these are the worst films I've seen in recent times.
Number 1, Downsizing.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that
I actually
sucks.
I know.
I kind of enjoyed the idea around it, and like the first time I watched it, I was like, "Oh, that's actually alright." And then the second time I watched it, I was like,
What?
Well, with that, the concept is good, but then the movie you got
so
was something
boring, mate.
else. And
I
then,
saw that
yeah.
back in the day.
Yeah, I went to the movies to watch
Yeah,
that.
I saw it.
So did I.
Yeah,
Yeah.
far out.
Fuck that movie. All right. He's All That with Addison Rae.
I refuse to watch that. I'm not going to put myself through it.
Mate,
I'm not going to put
I
myself
saw
through
20
it.
minutes and then turned it off.
"That
That's all I
looks
needed
that
to
looks
see.
average."
Average. It's so bad. And somehow she signed a 3-movie Netflix deal after that movie.
Well, it's Addison
kidding
Rae.
me?
It's going to bring in the TikTokers.
See, I'm gonna when it comes to me, I have a type of movie that is what
Okay.
I'm not a fan of.
Yeah.
Not individual movies, but like a type.
Okay, fair.
And that movie, it's got the guy from Cobra Kai, I don't know, the Tanner Butcher guy.
I don't really watch Cobra
God, that movie is so bad. I don't know what they were thinking about her acting, but like we said last week, stick in your lane. There are fucking levels to this shit. Go back to doing dances, mate. Anyways, next one. Fantastic Four, the newer one with Miles Teller and Michael B. Jordan.
There's a Fantastic Four with Miles Teller.
Yep.
Oh my God, you've not seen it? Bro, it's the worst.
Really?
It's
pretty bad.
Have a look at the ratings on Letterboxd. It's like,
1.4.
bro, they're all like half. The 26K rate of half.
Damn.
One of the worst movies I've ever seen. It literally cut off before the climax. I don't...
To like
what
save
a
it for another
waste of a fucking movie, bro. Waste. I was so mad after watching that. Another one,
That looks average.
mate. He's got a good cast, but fuck, that was so bad.
It was bad.
Another
was
one,
Bad.
Crawl.
Nah.
Yes.
No.
That was so bad,
No.
bro. I
just
remember
see-
watching it going like,
Lockie.
what the fuck?
Sort your
Sam
hands out.
Raimi,
Sort your hands out.
Get out of the cinema. Space Jam. We've already been over that. Don't need to
Which
go
one?
over that.
The
The
second
second one.
one?
Oh,
Okay.
bro,
I haven't seen it
bro,
yet.
the
I haven't
first one is incredible.
I was
First
gonna
one's
say.
incredible. It was my childhood. Shut up, Austin.
Yeah, but you got to realize they make that movie for the kids.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nah, I think we can all agree on this one. I don't know if you've seen it. Morbius.
Got it.
It's Morbin time.
I saw
With Jared Leto.
Oh, that was bad.
Yeah.
I actually left the cinema angry at how
Yeah.
bad that was. The director actually spoiled it on a red carpet, and they're like, "Wait, it's not released yet." He's
Yeah,
like,
because
"I
he
thought they
knew
released
it was
a
going
month
to
ago."
flop. He knew it was going to flop.
Really?
Bro, that was so bad, that movie. I said a half-assed, elongated, amateur-ridden, indie-feeling, first-time filmmaker vibe piece of absolute trash with actors whom you think is their first time acting. Fuck Morbius. And even, I'll tell you what's funny, that the whole joke about it's Morbin time, Jared Leto tried to play into that, and then he just killed the
Of course
joke.
he did. Of course he did.
And then someone asked Matt Smith at a convention, Comic-Con or something. He was just like, hey, Matt Smith, who plays the villain.
Yep.
He's like, it's Morbin time. He's like, sorry, what? He had no idea what the fuck they were on about. And then, yeah, anyways. And on the last one, Spring Breakers.
Oh, that is garbage.
Oh, wait, hold on. I think I
With
know.
Vanessa Hudgens.
Selena
Gomez. Was it Franco?
Yeah, James
what's-
Franco.
He's been done for something recently.
Yeah.
Hasn't he? He's cancelled.
Probably this film, to be honest. It's
Wouldn't surprise me. He plays
Oh,
that
wow,
kind
that
of
looks
character.
the ending to that film is just.
Spring
Bruh.
break forever. That's all I remember out of
Bro,
that.
for like 5 minutes, he stands in a room with guns going, "Look at all my shit.
Yeah.
Look at all my shit." And I'm like,
Terrible
is this
movie.
is this what we're doing here? Like,
Terrible movie.
It's fucked.
All right, Osto, you're up.
So, like I said, most of it stems from like recent watches and stuff. I'm going off. I've made a 2021 list, and there's some in 2022
Oh, right, yeah.
that are pretty bad. But there's just a couple to mention. I don't know. Have you guys heard of a movie called Jolt?
No,
No.
I heard of Bolt.
No, Jolt.
Okay, no.
Bolt is good. Jolt is shit.
Little hamster.
But Jolt sucked. It's just unbelievable stuff. And I think the ambition was too high, and they just fumbled the bag big time. Old, the M. Night.
Oh,
Shyamalan,
I've heard
whatever.
mixed reviews about that. People just like, it's so stupid that it's good. And then people are just like, it's so stupid, it's so stupid.
It's
Like,
garbage. It's laughable. It's almost, yeah, like you
M.
said.
Night
So,
Shyamalan, he's very hot and cold.
Yeah.
Well, when was the last thing he was hot on? M. Night Shyamalan.
the Visit.
Didn't he do one of those, the what's it called, Glass movies that were pretty
Yes, that sucked as well.
And
But he
Avatar:
did-
The Last
he did
Airbender.
Split,
that
didn't he?
Yeah, Split.
Yeah, Split was
That's-
good. Split was his
that
good
M.
one.
Night? Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fact
Sorry.
check us, please.
Continue.
The Forever Purge.
Okay.
Bro, they need to stop making these movies.
Yeah.
And I think they're coming out with
Just
another one.
like-
They need to stop because the gimmick is up. Just stop.
Just like the
It's-
Halloween movies.
Oh my days, man. Just let it go. Let it do what it needs to do and let it go.
Yep.
Fast and Furious 9.
Oh,
Garbage.
That looks
It is so bad.
I
Garbage,
got through
man.
the first like half an hour.
Bruv, no, that movie, I can't even, bro. It's like, yeah, fuck it, we'll go out of space.
And
Like-
then and one from this year.
Do they go out of space?
They do.
Oh god.
And they do bro, in
No,
space.
a car, bro. A car.
In space, right? When you've seen films like I was watching Passengers at work the other night, and he's floating away in space, and he's holding like a door as a shield kind of thing. He just throws it, and he goes the other way. In Fast 9, they're in space, and they do that whole, those quick cuts, like
Kick the door out and shit.
no, like they're in space in a car, and they need to crash into a satellite, and they go gear into
Fast and
like,
Furious, the movie that started with drag races on the
Yeah.
fucking street.
They're in space. They actually do that. You know when they go fast and they're like foot on the pedal into gear and stuff like that?
Yeah.
They do that in space.
Wait, they go fast and Fast and Furious?
No, not at all.
Oh, fuck.
But just to wrap up my little thing, The Man from Toronto.
Oh, yep. I got through about 10 minutes and fell asleep.
No regard for continuity whatsoever in that film, and Kevin Hart is dialed to like 1,000,000, and he's just frustrating.
Is that the movie where he starts off recording himself for like a
Yep.
YouTube video?
Yep.
Mm.
So they're my recent ones, but yeah, just while the filmmaking behind it might be okay, there's just the end product just was no good.
Sorry, are we
whatsoever.
boring you, Fetty? Are you yawning? Or?
No good whatsoever. Fetty,
Yeah.
please take the
go on,
floor.
take the floor.
Take the floor.
Before you fall asleep.
I had to get a lot of trains, alright.
Fair enough.
Also, Fast and Furious 9's putting me to sleep.
Oh,
That's
it
fair
will.
enough,
It
fair
will
enough,
put you
yeah.
to sleep. But what are yours?
My thing, Netflix rom-coms.
Okay.
Yep.
Why? Look,
Original? Netflix original?
yeah,
Okay.
Netflix original rom-coms. Like, I'll be honest, I watch them. Fair enough. But you watch them and you're like, God, the way rom-coms have gone from like here to here.
Yep.
It's just like, you look back at like When Harry Met Sally, or you look back at like even stuff like Groundhog Day and stuff. You know what I mean? Like, there's that like proper element of like comedy to it.
Yeah.
And like, I look back at like all like kind of romantic movies, like with a comedic element. That like the latest one that I've seen that's actually good is Are We Officially Dating with Michael B. Jordan,
Zac
Miles
Efron?
Teller, and Zac Efron.
Oh, I've been meaning to watch
That's
it.
an old-
Movie,
yeah.
like one of my favorite movies, like one of my absolute favorites. Just a good movie.
Yeah.
And it's like, look, you don't go in there thinking it's going to win an Oscar.
No.
You just go in there to get a
You know
laugh,
what you're expecting.
actually get the emotions going, and then be like, you know what, it looked pretty good. But you watch Netflix ones these days, and it's such a money grab.
Oh,
and that
massive.
is what's wrong with the film industry in some sense.
Have you seen 365 Days?
Oh my god. I haven't seen it, but I know what it's about. And it's just
It's Netflix's take on 50 Shades.
Yes, I have seen that. Fucking
Hello, baby
terrible.
girl. I was like, where are you going, baby girl?
it's no good. It's no good.
It's like terrible.
And they made a sequel to that.
Yeah,
Yes,
he's promoting
and
it.
the sequel
Yeah.
was
Why? Why?
They made
why?
another one as well.
No.
He's like promoting. He's on a
Man, how many 365 days are there? Fuck.
Oh, it's
Um,
laughable.
yeah.
But like, it's just, I understand why they do it, and it punches out. And at the end of the day, it's like jobs in the industry. Like, people are getting jobs. Like, you can get jobs on this kind of stuff. You know what I mean? But I look at it from like kind of a cinema point of view, and then like I go watch stuff at like the Sydney Film Festival. Like I go like to Palace Cinemas and watch like international films, and you're like, everyone is watching these Netflix originals that can be so hit or miss sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, there are some that are amazing. Like, I'll be honest, there are some Netflix originals where I'm like, oh, this is awesome. Or like some Netflix shows, like kind of like you mentioned it, Outer Banks. Like, I love
Oh,
that show.
bro,
Yeah.
how good.
Like there is some real good stuff, but like they've got to stop with the stuff like off the bottom shelf.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, man, I don't want your $6 vodka shot. I want the Belvedere. I don't want to be
This guy.
I don't want to be shotting hand sanitizer. All right.
Oh.
Yeah.
So give me some like actual thing that I can enjoy. And I don't even enjoy Belvedere. But but like I feel like that's got to go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because then it just like ruins the genre. And then like our generation in like 20 years or something, what's the best romantic film you've seen?
Friends with Benefits. Sorry, I don't know if that was a question, but I mean, there's La La Land. Sorry,
It
La La
wasn't-
Land.
It wasn't a question.
Okay, well, sorry, I will shut up.
When did I ask?
What are your thoughts on that?
What do you mean by that?
Jesus.
But so Friends with Benefits. Your
Friends with
favorite?
Benefits. That's the film I've seen the most out of my whole entire life. Rewatch that. La La Land is the best one, of course, but yeah.
I'll tell you what. Another good movie that I watched the other day. For the first time ever, The Nice Guys.
Oh, Russell Crowe.
Russell Crowe,
got
Gosling?
Fucking amazing.
Yes,
and you,
it is
might
good
think
film.
like I
Good
I
film.
remember I watched like the trailer like how long ago like and I was like, oh, I don't know if I'm gonna like this. I don't know. I've never been a big Russell Crowe person. I don't know if it's just like that he's Australian and everyone in the industry like
Froths
to
over
an
him.
extent froths over him because he's like an Aussie.
Yeah.
even though he's actually a Kiwi.
He's actually coming on the pod next week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like I think he's awesome and I think he's great. Like he's definitely done some good stuff. But like some people like just like who's the best ever Aussie actor? Russell Crowe.
Russell Crowe, yeah.
Russell Crowe.
Yeah.
Russell
No
Crowe.
way,
Like you know what I mean? And like I watched that movie and I was like, holy shit, he was good in this.
He
You know
was.
what I mean?
He was
Ryan
very good.
Gosling fucking on the money, and it was just like, yes, and like the comedic element was there. Like it's like
Gosling's good with comedy.
they were just taking the piss. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah.
But like it was actually funny.
Yep.
Like I actually laughed. I actually was like, wow, I would watch this again tomorrow.
Yeah.
Speaking about Gosling for a second, before I forget, so one of my good mates totally disagreed with your view on Bullet Train and saying how Grey Man is better than Bullet Train, and he told me to ask you explain why Grey Man is your number 2 of all time, and he thinks that you have a bias because you maybe have the hots for Ryan Gosling.
All true.
Okay, there you go. There's your answer.
There's your answer.
Look, I'm
There's your
saying
answer.
The Nice Guy's fucking 5 out of 5 because Ryan Gosling's fucking hot.
Exactly right.
You know what I did think though? I did think we would not talk about The Grey Man because I haven't seen it, and I was like, oh, maybe me coming on is going to be the first episode in this series where it's not mentioned. And it's like 5 minutes ago he snuck it in.
Let's just take note of who brought it up as well.
Exactly.
Yeah,
It's like that
I'm
relationship you just can't let go of. You know what
Exactly
I mean?
right.
It's like maybe I should have bought the ice cream, maybe I shouldn't.
Look, all right. I think we need to tie a little bow on this episode and put a wrap on it. So, Josh, you want to give us an outro, mate?
Yeah.
And just before.
Oh, let's touch on that. No, let's not touch on that.
Just before we go, we just want to say, I just want to give a quick shout out actually to Paige Doherty. Thank you so much for all your comments and everything like that. Our film chats and TV series chats, I love them. They're great. Thank you for all your kind messages for the podcast, and thank you for bringing people on board as well. And with that, I'm going to give us a little outro here, but Federico is going to be a recurring guest to give us updates on his progression and everything like that. So with that being said, we are now your accountability partners. Like we are to each other, we are now your accountability partners. Reach out to us for anything.
Reach out.
Yeah, reach out to the community as well. They'll hold you accountable as well. And that's what we're all about here at the pre-production meeting. So, Josh?
The Pre-Prod Pod on Instagram, TikTok, the Pre-Production Meeting, YouTube. Thanks, Fetty, for coming on. You've been an amazing first guest, and we'll see you guys later. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We're out.
Peace.